All right. Well, I teased it last time, and we're going to start with it this time. 461 episodes of We Were Gamers. It's not really a revelation, but more of a theme. Things that can strike you sometimes, as we were working on talking last week. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Andy. How you doing?
Hello, JJ.
Hey, how's it going?
I was hit last week with a nostalgia and also a fear. Are we ready?
Okay.
We're the last generation was what I said last week, and I think that was too cryptic. But it was something that while working on model kits, Gunpla specifically, I wondered of the dying art of building the model.
Is it dying?
Oh, it's got to be a much smaller community than it used to be on the whole.
I don't know. Is it?
Just based on the amount of stores, maybe that's internet related, but I would think.
But they sell a lot of that stuff online, man.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I would think, though, that it can't be as popular as it were. As a whole, not just specifically Gunpla. I'm sure the Gundam thing,
I think, it's hard for me to know, of course, because there's so many different avenues that model building takes these days. I'm sure the number of old men building ships in glass bottles has decreased over time. But the number of men building anime statues has increased 10,000 fold. So,
right.
Things change. Like you said, your kids were doing Pokemon statues, which was a thing that didn't exist when we were younger.
That's true. Yeah.
So, I think it's what do you mean by models? Is Gunpla less popular? I don't know. But is Warhammer less popular? Maybe. It's definitely hard for me to say. But then again, D&D is 50,000 million times more popular than it ever has been.
That does involve
people love to paint miniatures for that stuff.
Yeah, miniature building. Yeah. Good point. Miniature building is wickedly bigger than it ever was. I think maybe it's just the specificness of models has changed for sure. Right? Like, I don't hear or see anyone buying model ships, like you said, right? No one's hanging out doing that. I'd say you're probably right that on the whole, the amount of plastic to build things and paint them has increased over time. But I did a minor amount of research on it, and the hobbyist side of things sounds like, 10 years ago was twice what it was in terms of the hobbyist building of things that were static and didn't have stuff to do with other stuff. And that's okay. It's probably better that the things we invest time and money into do something, right? Rather than just sit on a shelf. Or be related to something that we find nostalgic now, right? Like people in the 1900s were building models of ships that didn't exist anymore because that was nostalgic for them.
Right.
Versus today, where it's like, well, that Gundam show that we watched is nostalgic to me. I want to build a model of that.
Yeah, there you go.
I just felt like, in general, like the communities sometimes can seem like they're just as big because they are more diehard and there's more information available. Like, you want to know how to sand plastic model kits so that you can't tell you sanded them? There's 10,000 videos that can now be produced in a day about how to use glass files, which didn't exist when I first started building models, right?
Yeah, man. Learning about the people are obsessed with the kinds of sandpaper and all the way down to, like you say, glass files that are so fine you would be hard pressed to know that they were sanding in some instances.
But it worried me a little bit that we could be the last generation to know a couple things. Model kits maybe won't be the last thing because of things like D&D or Warhammer or whatever. but like it's a hyperbole to say the last, right? Someone will always know how to build a computer because someone has to build the next computer. But like, unless kids are going to be taught specifically about the insides of computers, we might be the last generation to see inside of a computer.
I mean, I think that ship already sailed, right? Like PC building is a niche hobby already, right?
We're all still alive, so it hasn't sailed completely. I'm just saying.
No, but I mean, like, look, how many kids are like, hell yeah, I want to build a PC. Like, teenagers maybe. I don't know. It's like, look, it's not really the job of a 10-year-old to build a PC, but like,
the Appleification of the Magic Box has definitely taken over, right?
Sure.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think like phones and laptops and iPads have done that for kids of a certain age. Like, why would you? Everything is the computer. The box just works. You don't have to like mess with the parts. That's not a thing.
You don't need to know what's going on under the hood. You just hit the power button and it goes.
Well, and even if you did know what was going wrong under the hood, we're getting to the point that really, even if you had the right to repair, it's going to get almost impossible.
Well, and you got companies like Apple doing their like, yeah, we comply with the right to repair law. Here you go. Parts are for sale. Oh, the screen costs double the price of a new iPad? Huh, weird. Yeah.
I was trying to digitize some tapes, and while my kids have seen a VHS, they'll never really remember a working VHS player.
No, they're too young.
Yeah. So I didn't know off the top if we could come up with some more funny ideas of what are we the last generation to really experience. I'm sure it won't be gone. Some of these things won't be gone. There will be museums of all sorts of computers, and they could learn about computers. There will be museums of all the media that existed. But I saw an article about Inception, just Christopher Nolan being like, yo, I'm down with whatever you want to do, but maybe you guys should buy these movies so that no one can take them away from you. Like that type of thing.
People have been saying it for a while,
Yeah.
But I mean, I have a favorite one that'll fit into that category, Andy. What are we the last generation to see, or to remember ourselves, and that is hang up the phone.
Oh, but the phrase will stick around, right?
The phrase sticks around, but the actual meaning of it, the context of what it means, is lost, right, beyond us.
Hang up, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. People are starting to get landlines again because of emergencies. I don't think it'll be enough, though. I don't need one for an emergency, I guess.
Pro tip, most places, they're not better in emergencies because out from your house, they're also voice over IP. And so then they're not actually up in an emergency either, if that's the problem.
Oh, really? The actual landline is not gone. Oh, wow. That is a good point.
There's very few places that still have copper line service. And if they do, your phone company is trying to make you get rid of it.
Wow. I forgot. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Okay.
So, but that's like a really good one, right? Because who has a handset phone that you walk around the house with, right? Or even better, a corded telephone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Again, a museum, I'm sure, will have one, and people can say, you used to hang them up, but the life experience stuff it's some of it's sad and some of it's really funny to me. Like, some of the restaurants that have disappeared, and you're like, oh, they'll never know, what it was. I guess the McDonald's play spaces have started to come back, but they were gone for a while. I don't know if they'll stick around.
Yeah, I can't come up with one off the top of my head, but there's like tons of stuff in this category. Right? I think a good one is, nobody refers to things by like the decades anymore.
No, what do you mean?
Well, it's like when we were growing up, it's like, oh, the fashion of the 70s is popular, and then the 80s, and then the 90s, and the 00s. But no one says that about the 10s and the 20s.
Is it because they're too new?
I heard someone talking about this recently, and the theory that they postulated was that it it wasn't necessarily that they're so recent, but more that things are changing so rapidly that it is harder to define an entire span of 10 years by one idea or aesthetic.
Well, We Were Gamers will provide you the dates of console releases, and you can do it by that.
But I think Michael's onto something, though. But like, the rate of change of pop culture and like everyone knows what you mean, or everyone of a certain age knows what you mean when you say, "Oh, we're going to have like an '80s dress up night or an '90s party or whatever." You get an idea what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone said we're going to do a 2010s dress up, what would you even do?
Well, then maybe it isn't because it's changing. It's because it's not changing. Or the other option is fractured culture. Starting around the 2007, 8. Twitter comes online in 2008 or 9, and really people silo themselves off after that. Plus, we are of the generation that is stuck in our ways at this point, right? We are now dressing the same all the time.
I think it's all of these things, right? It just combines to say that, no one is remembering clothing or styles or fashion or music of a certain decade anymore. That's not a thing. There's just music that's being made now. No one associates, Taylor Swift music is from the 2010s. It's just Taylor Swift music from whenever she put it out.
Yeah. I think another one that'll be interesting to see how long they really survive in public is non-digital watches. I was thinking about this also when I was handling a mechanical pocket watch yesterday or Sunday, and I thought, what is the function of this to younger people? Like, I make my kids wear a non-digital watch so they can learn time currently.
Yeah,
but they don't wear them hardly at all.
In case they see a clock and they need to know how the hands work.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really more of a teaching tool, right? They don't really need it for anything. There's digital clocks on everything now.
So the answer is fashion.
Yeah, fashion is important, and I think that's what I mean when I say in pop, like in everyday Targets and whatever. Like, they still carry watches, but for how long? Like, fashion wise, I think the high end of very expensive watches will never go away, and second hand watch dealers and all that sort of stuff. But the ubiquity of the Apple Watch, the Google Watch, all those things, will they take over? Will Target only sell those? Like, what's going to happen to the analog watch?
Yeah, I think you're right to some degree. Other than, kids want to have a watch that has Mickey Mouse on the strap or whatever, right? You are probably correct that they're not going to sell analog watches except, for niche reasons or whatever.
Yeah.
High end.
Yeah, but definitely, like, in terms of like high end fashion or like, people who want to be fashionable all the time, especially as a man, like, watches are kind of one of the only accessories you can wear. So
yeah,
they're never going away as part of fashion, broadly. But like, is everyone wearing a giant timepiece statement thing in their everyday dress? Yeah, like no one is wearing a giant watch to the gym, right?
I just don't see the younger neighbors around me, like anybody in their 20s. I don't see them wearing watches at all.
I think you maybe need to go catch them at the club to see their like, hip dress, which again, none of us are going to because we're too old.
True. They are surfers.
You want me
Maybe
to
they
leave
don't
the
wear.
house at 9 p.m., JJ? Come on now.
I know it's a high bar. So I'm saying that, we don't exist in the fashionable places, let's say, where maybe this stuff is happening. But certainly you're correct that, like, if they're surfing, maybe they're wearing one of those waterproof Apple Watches if they're good and they trust themselves, But I would imagine you're correct that, like, yeah, no one's wearing a watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a fun little. I think people would think we were being sad about stuff, but I think it's more fascinating than anything. Really, the world doesn't need so much stuff, and it's okay for things to fall by the
I think
wayside.
it's really interesting. It's one of the reasons I enjoy museums so much. If you go to a museum that on like a thing that's interesting to you, many years ago at this point now, many years, I went to a museum of like old computers.
Oh, that's cool.
They had them like there and you could use, and it was like, this computer takes up half of the room. It's like, it has a terminal and you can enter like one like keyboard commands and it has like a little, thing telling you some of the things you can tell it to do to like add or whatever. And it's like clicking and clacking away when you're like, add 6 + 10 or whatever. And it was like so interesting to be like, oh yeah, this was state of the art. There were like people whose entire job it was to like work on this thing and make this thing do something. And it's like, yeah, what are those people doing now? Something else, right?
Yeah. The film was another one that came up that in a very similar vein, right? Like I was trying to explain
film
to
or
one of
like movie reels.
like camera film. I was trying to explain to one of the kids why she couldn't see the picture right away.
Yep.
And like, can you imagine the amount of people it used to take to make film, process film, sell it, like all the things related to film that now, like, yeah, it still exists for hipsters.
I mean, the crazy thing, especially in that vein, right? You used to be able to go to every CVS, every Target, every whatever, and they all had like a film developing
photo studio, yeah,
photo thing there, and you could give it to them, and your pictures would be developed and available the next day. Now, you're lucky if you can find a place to drop them off. Probably like Costco. I don't know where else does it, but then it's like a week before you can come back and get them. And then they just email you the stuff. They don't even like give you the real ones unless you pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the tech museum thing was kind of cool, and it reminds me, JJ, that you have to tell us about a piece of tech that maybe belongs in a museum or could belong in a museum someday.
I do.
Something that no longer functions, that they took away from you. There was a recall.
Oh yeah. This I don't know when I first got this notice. It's one of those things where like you get an email from like a big store, and you're like, I don't read these stupid emails from you. That's like spam marketing or whatever. You just like delete it, right? And then you get another one like a month later with the same subject, and you're like, it triggers something in the back of your head, and you're like, didn't I see this exact email before? And then I finally read the headline, and it's like, product recall, blah blah blah, and you're like, oh, okay. And I open it up, I take a look, and oh yeah, this is a thing I bought like in 2014 or 2015. And the company that makes them had continued making them in the span of time. It's one of those little power banks, right? So like, it has like a USB on the top, a little button on the side that tells you how much charge there is on the lights, and you can, use it to charge stuff, right? It was a pretty small one. I took it to Comic-Con several times over the time span that I owned it. I've since replaced it with a bigger one that is only a little bit bigger, but like quadruple the size. But they were still selling this thing. It was relatively cheap. And it had a recall on it, basically saying that, hey, discontinue using this immediately. It can explode.
Oh, did you have one that was subject to the recall? I heard about that.
So I don't know what the recall you're referring to, but I had one that was recalled.
There was yours. What is it? Anchor?
Yes, Anchor? It was. Yes.
Yeah, they issued a recall just a couple of weeks ago. I read about it because we had to check some of ours to make sure they weren't subject to it.
I'm hearing about it right now.
Yeah, apparently there's a risk of them essentially blowing up.
So
catching fire.
Let me tell you, it is not just they issued one; they have issued many over a recent period of time. And if you have bought it from them, either their storefront or a big store, you will be getting emails about it. So
Okay.
in theory, if you own products from Anchor and you haven't gotten an email yet, maybe you're okay. But,
I have not
definitely
gotten
check
an
your
email.
stuff.
Yeah. These product numbers do not match. These model numbers do not match the main numbers that I have. So I'm gonna have to look at them more closely. As far
If
as
you
I can
have
tell.
If you have one like me, it's like a little black, I don't know, long ovalish shape, flattened. On the bottom of it, the side that doesn't have the USB stuff, is some text. If you could read that text, it'll tell you all the information.
So I'm
that you
looking
need
at
from them.
Anker's page of recalls, and none of these pictures that they have of any of these power banks look like any of the ones that I have.
Then you're probably fine.
For now.
Until they recall more of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I got them from a big box, so I assume I'll get an email.
I would think you would.
Yeah, crazy.
So I guess I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, but it's specifically these older style of lithium-ion batteries that are susceptible to this issue, which again, I'm not clear what exactly the issue is, but as Michael said, it can cause the batteries to catch on fire and explode, which obviously is super bad.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, so then I was like, all right, well, like, what can I do about this? They're like, we will exchange it for another one that isn't subject to the recall. I'm like, what are my other options?
Okay.
Or they'll give you a gift card to their store. And I'm like, that's not really what I want. Can I just have money? And it's like, no.
Of course not.
Of course not. So, and, given that I have a different power bank that I use really anyway, when I'm doing stuff like this, I was like, all right, so just give me the gift card. And I bought some cables and wall plugs and stuff. It's not like anything exciting. But as part of submitting the recall, I had to send a picture of the thing with the serial number visible and a piece of paper that says recall and the date. It visible in the photo.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. This thing is black. The serial number on it is like light gray and worn because I've had it for 10 years. This was the most difficult picture I've ever had to take in my life. I eventually had to set it on a windowsill where I could get outside light onto the top of it at like such an angle that it would pick up kind of in the camera, like not even very well. Like I couldn't read it in the picture. It was visible like with my eyes, but in the picture I had no idea what that stuff said, man. It was just like, there's definitely writing there, but I don't know what it says. And they processed the refund, so thank goodness. But like I was like, dude, I can't get a better picture of this. This is impossible. I don't know how to do macro.
Is it printed on there or is it raised?
No, it's like screen printed or something. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, this is the time you go to one of your old model kits, pull out the little can of white paint. And
oh, yeah. Just like brush over the top of it.
Just brush over the top of the numbers.
So then they're like, okay, like, yes, definitely. This is one of the recalled ones. We accept your recall. Here's your gift card. Please go recycle that.
Okay.
Do you guys know how to recycle lithium-ion batteries?
Yes.
Do you know how to recycle recalled lithium-ion batteries?
That part, I don't know if there's a difference, but we have a hazardous waste disposal near us, and they will take lithium-ion batteries.
So I looked at that for my area, and they will not take lithium-ion batteries. And then the one like in the city next to me said they would, but that they would not take recalled ones. I was like,
probably a good idea. Don't put the damaged ones inside the bin that will catch fire.
The ones that could become dangerous if.
Well, they become dangerous when you plug them in, right?
Right.
So it's not dangerous to have. They're just they're dangerous if you use it charging up, right? Or not to
Right.
charge something, to charge it. So I ended up taking it to a hardware store near me that has a battery recycling program, and they take every dang thing.
Okay.
Sure, that makes sense.
So, I'm sure they get money for it somehow, which I don't particularly enjoy because give me the money. But, it disposed of properly at least. But that was a real adventure having to figure out where I can recycle this thing. When I figured it was just like a trip to the one place that I would go, and it's like, no, absolutely not. I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah. Yeah, that's difficult. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with like being worried about that kind of stuff. The fear at the USPS of like shipping lithium ions and all that. I know it comes from bad things having happened and things catching fire, but it seems like the rate of failure is actually decently low as long as they're not charging, right? All those batteries that catch on fire with electric bikes and stuff, it's all while they're charging.
Yeah, that always seems to be the issue.
I think the problem is less that they're like, oh, definitely don't do this. It's that they know people are doing it anyway, and they don't want to make it worse. Like, there's already enough chance. Like, for the postal service, how many dang packages of batteries do you think get sent in the postage all the time? Like a lot, right?
Yeah. And
already enough of them explode. They're just like, please don't make this worse and burn down our trucks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. I've had this argument even at my job because we work in the broad sense aviation industry. And I don't know if you guys know, but there was a whole thing with the 787 using lithium ion batteries, and they didn't want to let it go because they thought it was going to explode.
I didn't know that.
And then eventually, at least one of them did catch on fire.
Great.
And people were like, look, no, it's the people who installed it were wrong. It wasn't the battery. It wasn't the battery. But convince a regulator of that, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, they don't have a great track record of telling the truth either. So,
of course. So, the batteries have a bad rap, but the failure rate exists, and it's higher than the old ones for sure. Right? The problem is everything needs more energy now, and you kind of don't have a choice in terms of producing the amount of energy people want in their daily lives.
Yeah, or you got to start enough form factor.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. You got to start maintaining people on planes to keep changing batteries or whatever. You can't do that. That's not going to work. Then you got the weight of extra batteries and
absolutely, and the weight is a huge issue, especially in aviation. But also in your, how much you want your phone to weigh another extra pound? Absolutely not, right? Like Tim Apple will throw you off the Empire State Building before he adds 2 ounces to the iPhone, right? Like,
oh, don't harsh on Tim Apple.
I'm right though. Look, like, I don't. Alec Google or whatever would do it too.
Weight is money, man.
Yeah, and absolutely, they would, if they can cut 0.1 ounce, they would kill children. So I'm confident that the weight is a huge, huge issue, and just it's the lithium ion stuff is just the best there is in technology right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If you want to if you guys want to become rich, invent cheap, easy to do batteries that are really good, and you will instantly become a billionaire.
I had a college professor who told us that same thing, and this was 15 years ago now.
Still the case.
Still the case. Yeah. He said, if you want to become rich overnight, build a better battery.
There was some inkling that China had developed some sort of salt battery, some sort of sodium thing, in the early 2010s, I think it was. But I haven't heard anything about those becoming big enough or strong enough to do much of anything.
I think there are a lot of competing battery chemistries with lithium ion, but the problem is they're too expensive to manufacture and stand up the giant billion-dollar plants required, right?
Well,
and so it's
I know personally that like you can build a salt battery at home. They just don't last very long.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get to a point where a thing is better than a different thing, but if the conditions don't work to make it into a cell phone battery or whatever, right, it's not going to get the investment it needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, maybe the corollary to Michael's build a better battery is manufacture a better battery, actually. Don't even build it, just manufacture it, right?
Yeah. And how much technology is like that, right? Like the cool, better, cutting edge stuff exists, but the actual barriers to market entry are what prevent it from being a thing.
I mean,
if we're all
whether
mining
it's cost or scalability or
if we're all mining lithium, it's the same problem as drilling for oil, right? We're already drilling.
Here's one that'll help everyone out. You guys know, I mean, I'm sure we've all broken a phone screen in our lives. The glass on those phones, they have solved how to make it not break. Like it's very, like that glass exists. It's out there. You could just have it on your phone, but they don't because it's expensive.
There's also no money in it, in making it not break.
Well, okay. Think about it a little bit though. It's expensive, right? So how long does your phone last if it doesn't break its screen? Because I use a screen protector and I have not broken a screen in 15 years.
Right.
Right. So
and your screen protector cost what, $4 or whatever?
Less.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how much could a banana cost, Michael?
Yeah.
It's one banana.
The problem with that is I've had 3 phones in that time. So
exactly.
It's not just about the cost of creating the thing. It's also about the cost to everyone else for like, okay, we've made this really expensive one part, but the rest of the thing is still not disposable, but does get replaced.
Absolutely. All the companies think of those things as disposable though. Like, you may think that the $800, $900, $1,000 phone you buy is not disposable, but the company absolutely does. And they treat it that way.
Okay. So, I mean, especially in their mind, and also a little bit in our mind, we should worry about things becoming exorbitantly expensive for no reason. If the rest of the phone is designed to be disposable, I don't want the screen to then add $400 in cost to the phone.
Yeah, totally right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I'm just
give me
pointing
an
out that
unbreakable screen for my 15-year-old laptop that I still use, and I'll be happy with that.
Well, I hate to inform you that the cost to get one of these is going to be like, $15,000 or something.
Yeah. Well, and Samsung will never do it because it can't fold or whatever crazy origami thing they want to do with a phone next.
Yeah, totally.
Oh boy. Speaking of crazy origami, what in the world, JJ, have they done to my model kits? It's amazing. It's awesome. I sent you a picture. You should look at this thing. I want to describe to you what's happening here. We're going to talk about Gunpla. So, like, if you're not interested in Gunpla, give us like 8 minutes. We'll keep it short today. Did you see this picture?
I'm looking at it.
Okay. I want to bring your attention, if you zoom in slightly, those sprues, which, Michael, you can tell kind of which are the pieces of the Gundam and which are the pieces of the plastic that held the pieces of the Gundam in this picture, right?
Sure. Yes. Yeah, you can differentiate that.
Okay. Most of the time, these things are just connected directly to the seam line on the sides of the plastic piece. And JJ, you and I they're pressed in. The seam is there, and the things that connect to these things are pressed in at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
JJ, I don't know if this is this way on your tall geese model that you've been working on, but it didn't used to be the way that any models were made, and I'm fascinated and very happy about this. new craziness. That connector doesn't go to the side of the model like it looks like it does.
Which connector? Are you talking about the
All
piece
those
joining the two pieces together?
Yeah, all those sprue pieces that are flashing on the side that are not part of the model piece, they connect underneath into a part of the model that you can't see. So unlike when you cut pieces off, like if you look at the ones above and you can see the little nubs there, these little nubs are hidden. They can't ever be seen.
Oh, I see. Because this is the bottom facing piece, like the place where the sprue connection is would face the interior of the model.
Correct.
Yeah, that's smart.
Back
I like that.
I mean, you look at the legs of things or the arms of things or whatever, like even the cheap kits that the kids are using, and the sides of them and the tops of them, and all the little nub pieces are all over the place, and you can see all the little nub cutoffs, right? I noticed every exterior facing piece on this real grade kit has this design in terms of where they've thought about where to put these pieces so that you can't have the same marks that we had when we built these, 20 years ago.
So I can at least say this isn't 100% true on my kit. There are just some pieces that are just obviously so big and exterior to the model that, the large chest armor piece or the large piece of leg armor or whatever just will have an exteriorly visible, piece of like flash or whatever that comes off the edge of it. But it is on the edge as opposed to like coming down the middle or like right on the like obvious side. It's like at the edge, where the seam would be with the bottom of the part. So, they're definitely thinking about it, which is cool.
Yeah, this real grade level of thinking about it seems like they've really mastered something that 20 years ago I wouldn't have thought about at all, like how they could change that. Now, you do have to be really careful that you don't damage other pieces when you're cutting these things off, because they're right next to stuff you do not want to cut off.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is that I have, from my experience building so far, people have basically said that you just need to be like, in fact, the way you cut these through the sprues there, I think I would say that is too much. You have cut too deeply in your first cut because there's too much sprue available. Like I'd be too worried that you would hit other parts.
Oh no, these were kind of like off on their own.
Okay. But the model clippers that I use say you shouldn't be cutting through big, thick pieces of plastic like those two in the center.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all these are like, truthfully not that big of pieces of plastic, really, in the grand scheme of things. But it is interesting how many, like, have you been surprised by how many, like, just little tiny, like, pieces that fit together there are in this thing?
Oh, man, dude. Michael, I sent JJ a picture. I'll put it in the group chat for you.
Okay, I want to see this.
I built the skeleton of an arm today. Just the skeleton interior of the arm. Because the Gundam kit that I'm building has a skeleton. I don't know, JJ's, does yours have a full skeleton as well?
A lot of them do. It does and it doesn't. Like it doesn't have a full interior skeleton, but a lot of the pieces bolt on top of interior pieces. So in a way, it kind of does.
So Michael, the picture I sent, you can see the arms and the chest.
Seeing a lot of tiny little linkages here.
That arm piece, each one is 9 pieces.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Looks like
actually, I miscounted 10 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the design of this arm looks very familiar to me.
Okay.
I don't know that it's the same mechanism because it looks like the part for the top is a little different than the one I was using, but like the joint for the elbow and stuff, because I can see where the elbow is.
Yeah. This does not include the shoulder.
Yeah, shoulders are a separate piece.
Of course not.
Mm-hmm.
like a big ball. Well, mine is like a big ball joint that sits on top of the piece that Andy has there.
Yeah.
Because,
So
to be clear, you can rotate the arm. I don't know what direction that is, but keep the elbow locked, but rotate it in and out, like into and out of your body, while not moving the shoulder up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm making the motion with my personal arm, but I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah. I can see all the actuation points that are in
Yeah,
here.
and so then it has to handle that rotation, but also the rotation of your shoulder up and out at the same time, right? So you can put your fist and hand in like a crazy sword fighting pose or whatever.
Yeah, the amount of poses these are going to be able to do is kind of nuts. I mean, you're basically building an action figure with like even more articulation, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not really building an action figure, you're building a completely like almost fully posable model of something, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, if a human hand can move that way, well, I don't know about the hand.
But certainly the arms.
The arms can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not as far as you are, JJ. Yours is basically done.
It's not. I need to still do all the backpack stuff and the like things that clip on the back of it. So like the rear thrusters and the big like thruster backpack thingies, and then also the gun and the shield and the swords. So it's still a bit to go. There's a surprisingly lot of pieces in the thrusters because they collapse, right? Like, they move. They're not just like open and showing that it's blasting or whatever. Like you can pop it open and closed into the little pod that it comes in.
Oh, okay.
So, it's like 48 pieces to like make one of these things. I don't know. I haven't built them yet, but there's a lot of pieces left on those sprues. So they got to go to something.
I am taking it as slow as I can. I want to build like one every year or something like that. I don't want to get too deep into this.
I think I'll end up going faster than that, just based on free time available. But I'm not planning to build hundreds of these. I think
a good accidental thing I've put myself into is real grade don't come out that often. So
I do find the meditative to be like a fun kind of meditative exercise, right? It's like you kind of can't do anything else at the same time, or at least I can't. Like I can't be listening to a podcast, I can't be watching shows or whatever. I kind of have to focus on just this thing, or like I'm gonna cut this thing not good, and then it's over, right?
It's just a little too much concentration for you to be able to split your focus.
And maybe on like my 10th one, if I get that far, although I don't know that I will get that far, but I'll be a lot better at this and feel more confident in that. But yeah, for the way it is now, I certainly don't think I could, multitask while doing one of these.
I think I agree with you, although I am somewhat multitasking because the kids are building theirs at the same time. So generally speaking, I'm not getting much done anyway because we're fixing mistakes or putting on stickers or doing other things or I'm snapping pieces that they can't snap physically.
Andy, you asked me a question about stickers. The answer is you need tweezers, and like not normal ones. You need like the ones that are like hooked on the end.
Yep, I have them.
Okay,
I've had them for since I was like 8.
Yeah, that's what you got to have, and you just got to be like real steady, man. I don't know how else anyone does it.
I want to do water transfers. I know that the metallic stuff they can't do in water transfers. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that because I like the metallic stickers that are on there, but
the metallic ones are just stickers, like normal stickers. Like you
yeah. But I don't. Those are just going to peel off, man.
Not if you put them on good. Like they're not peeling if you're sticking them on all the way.
Yeah. I think over time, just the stickers eventually peel. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason you don't put them on, or that there's a reason you either don't put them on or you find quickly the aftermarket Lego people.
I think the thing people in the hobby would tell you is you just spray coat it at the end and then they can't come off, right?
That's true. Then matte spray coating over a shiny sticker.
I mean,
I don't know.
you're varnishing the things that need to be varnished and not the things that don't. Look, people are insane. They'll tell you like completely disassemble it to paint it, right? Like that's,
After you went through all that to just put together in the first place.
right. There is, the depths are infinite. And so, it's a question of what you're looking to do with the thing. And I think if you're planning to let it sit on a shelf, not in direct sunlight, like, it's probably fine to use a sticker.
Probably, yeah. The like depths, like you said, are endless for the amount of stuff you can not just do to it, but also like get to do to it extra. Like we were talking today in a
absolutely.
text chat just about doing panel lining, and it's like cool. And then I was watching videos the other night on weathering, and so like I think I want to get these weathering pencils.
I think that's a step too far for me, man. I commend you though; they look cool.
Yeah, weathering looks like fun. I don't know, man.
It is a really fun thing to get back into and to remember, like, oh yeah, like remember when I used to do all like this stuff when I was painting my Warhammer miniatures. It's like, oh yeah, I know how to do a wash. I remember how that works. And it's just like, yeah, like, unlocking in my brain like memories that I had completely forgotten about,
Yeah, I've sat here thinking about doing a dry brush, and I'm like, but then I would have to like spray paint the entire model.
So here's what people
paint to
recommend
stick.
in terms of doing that, right? Is you spray paint the individual pieces. You don't spray paint the model as a whole.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so, you spray paint you primer all of them and then you paint them and then you can do these other things on top, right?
Yeah, but then if you're going to do that, then why, just put it back on the sprue.
Look, I'm telling you what people do. I'm not saying I'm doing this, but that is a thing that people do.
No, I know. It's an endless amount of stuff.
But I think like, a dry brush on top, like, especially for like, details on the edges of stuff would totally be doable. Pulling off a whole leg is a lot different than like disassembling every panel,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Gundam kits have no end, man. We could literally talk about them forever. Instead, we should talk about something that did end. Michael and I both want to hear. How did Expedition 33 go?
Pretty great, man. I think the ending was cool. I was happy. Can't say a lot without spoilers, especially about the ending, so I'm not gonna, but I was pretty happy with how it turned out for me. I really enjoyed that game.
As the rest of it, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I think the story is really cool. I think there are some people who... the game has a little bit of trouble with itself in the third act, I think. And I mean that both like the game has an act 3 and also the game has like, a 3-act structure both ways, right? Gameplay wise, it kind of like, the world opens up at some point and the game kind of loses its focus a bit and it kind of gives you like an end goal. It's like, go do this. But meanwhile, there's like a ton of places on the map you've never been now. And it's all like, wait, what do am I not going to do this stuff? What is all this other map for? And it's like the objective is go kill the boss. And you're just like, what?
That's not fun.
And there's stuff over there to do. But maybe it's not for you, let's say. It's for, a version of you that's 20 levels higher. But the game doesn't give you any like indications of this stuff. So I don't know how they should have addressed this, but it was not done well, I think. So, but again, like it doesn't detract from the story itself. I think, there is a post game. So if you want to go after the game and go back and do whatever other like, high level super boss content or whatever that's out there, they allow you to if you want.
That's always nice.
Yeah. Based on the way the game ended, I don't know that I want to do that. But also like my characters were like insanely overpowered by the end already. It's like I don't know that I need to go get to level 99 and whatever other, max level, max damage, everything. So
Okay. What was your final playtime?
that is a great question. He says stalling for time as he attempts to go on Steam and look up the answer. It couldn't have been, okay. My total playtime was 57.5 hours.
Okay, that's pretty sporty for a large RPG.
Yeah, and like there's more stuff there, certainly. I did a lot. I didn't do everything. I did a lot. There are more bosses I didn't do, higher level ones, like challenge bosses and stuff, but I did most of the stuff. I did a bunch of the mini game stuff, which is not necessary at all. It mostly rewards you with clothing items and stuff, so you could skip a bunch of that. Yeah, I really had a great time. I think people should play this game, dude. It's a really fun game. It's a very and one of the greatest comments you can give to an RPG is that like by the end of the game, the battle system was still not boring.
That's
wow.
Yeah, that's high praise.
Yeah, I mean most RPGs you're kind of done with it, man.
I was still interested in the fights at the end of the game.
That's pretty good.
And I think the thing that gets, especially in that game, the thing that gets you is that, early on, you're not good at the parrying stuff. So you're dodging all the attacks. You don't want to because if you mess up the parry, you take a bunch of damage, right? Whereas the dodge, the timing on the dodge is relatively forgiving. And you can just do it quite easily usually. But by the end of the game, you're so strong. It's like, why don't I parry all the time? Why am I not doing it? And then you just unlock this complete other level of the game where it's like, oh, suddenly all these abilities that deal with parries and like counterattacks and like all this stuff are like options now. It's like not options, like this is the build I want to do now because it's like so powerful when you can actually do that stuff. And then when your health and your powers are such that you're not worried about getting one shot, but from missing the parry, you're like, oh, like, yeah, I should do this. And then, okay, now I'm going to learn the timing enough so that I can get the 3 parry buttons off in a row that I can then counterattack for 8 quadrillion damage or whatever, right? It's cool, man. And like I said, the battle system is just so customizable by the end that it was just like really, really fun to come up with builds for the characters. So yeah, just great game. Really had a good time.
Excellent.
Awesome. I am still looking forward to it.
I want to post a clarification since we're talking about your game. Jeanne d'Arc is available on PSplus.
Whoa, it is?
As I was able to determine based on an email, it was available on PSplus when I verified that.
Okay, it is purchasable.
Yeah, I think it was available last year. So
it is a fun game. People should play it.
Well, is that what's next on your list, or are you getting back onto that, or are you doing something else?
Yeah, I'm probably going to get back onto that at some point here. I don't know what is next. Kind of in a lull for this month, I think. Building models, maybe. I know there's another Trails game coming next month, and also the Final Fantasy Tactics remake is coming out next month.
Oh my!
It is.
So I'm pretty interested in both of those. So that may be where I'm focusing, as far as new games go. But yeah, I definitely want to get back into Jeanne d'Arc. I was really enjoying where it was in that.
Excellent. Alrighty. I think in our last rollout here, we should talk about whether or not JJ and I should watch with our eyes. That's a bad. I don't have a good. Michael, is Wakanda forever?
It is more forever than you realize, and this will shed some light on that.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, I barely heard anything about this until I saw an ad for it. I think just yesterday, not yesterday, last week.
Can I say I hadn't heard about it at all until you said something?
Yeah. So it wasn't very widely advertised as far as I'm aware. But Disney Plus just dropped a mini series called Eyes of Wakanda. It's only four half-hour episodes, but it focuses on the history of the Hatut-Zaraze, or as they are better known in the Marvel Universe, the War Dogs.
I was gonna say, excuse you.
Yeah.
We know the War Dogs, though. War Dogs have been a part of their story every show or movie.
They have been. Yeah, they have been.
They have been. So it picks 4 points in history, starting in like 1260 BC, and tells four kind of standalone stories selected from points in the War Dogs history.
So it's like Tales of the Jedi style thing.
Yeah, a little bit. And they do, I won't say more, but they do a very good job of bringing it, of tying it into the mainline movies at the very end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it apparently is set in the MCU's quote unquote sacred timeline. So it takes place in the same timeline as the films. It's not its own standalone, like some of the other Marvel animated series.
I think that's probably essential. I don't know. That might be too strong a statement, but
It's definitely needed to get to the tie-in at the very end.
oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Uh,
But it's really good. The stories, there's one 1260 BC in Crete. There's one story that's 1200 BC in the middle of the Trojan War. There's one in 1400 AD, in China, and then the last one takes place in the Italian-Ethiopian War in the
Cool.
1800s. So some very cool stories. They're done really well. The series was developed by Ryan Coogler, so it has a sameness of tone with the Black Panther movies.
now we like to hear that. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds like I need to put this on my list of things to watch next.
Yeah, I think you guys would both enjoy this.
It's not too long. It sounds like. Are they half hours or hours?
Half hour.
Oh yeah, that's totally easy. Right on. Yeah, we're never gonna get to some of this stuff. We gotta put Invincible and Andor on the list for next week, you guys. I'm just gonna say that now.
And wouldn't that require some people to watch those things?
It would, and I don't know. I don't know. I can talk about one of those next week.
Okay. Well, I think I can talk about the other one without spoiling anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Although, we could wait. We could wait on the one.
I don't know.
Invincible's done though, right? We're all good on Invincible for next week.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We've all watched up to the current season.
Then when people want to discuss it with us or send in comments about Invincible season 3, where would they send them?
They could send that to podcast@weweregamers.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Blue Sky, on Instagram. We Were Gamers on all those places.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I found my next real grade, JJ.
Uh-oh.
They make Ava model kits in real grade.
Yeah, they do.
I could make an Ava. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to expand beyond my current planned remit in the Gundam Wing universe, but, we'll see.
It's probably for the best. Well, until next time, happy everything. Happy model building, happy TV watching, happy game playing. Have a good week.